It's time for another Robot Schedule how-to video. So today we're going to talk about how to get started with forecasting in Robot Schedule. Robot Schedule, of course, has all these forecasting features, but how do you use them? How do you use it to predict the future schedules for things like maintenance and other items that you might want to do in the future? As we know, Robot Schedule runs on IBM i. It has interfaces into SAP and Enterprise One. It also can run interactive processes, and it can be your enterprise scheduler by putting agents on Windows, Unix, and Linux. But today, we want to talk about forecasting. So with Robot Schedule, we have internal forecasts that are used by the Schedule Activity Monitor, where you can see what's forecasted, what's running, what's completed. Very handy feature. You can build forecasts independent of that through the GUI from the command line interface, or you can even schedule these in Robot Schedule. And what happens if you have an external dependency to a job, like an end user executes one of our APIs to cause a Robot Schedule to run, or you have a batch process on another partition that runs in IBM i? These external dependencies can also be accounted for in your forecast. And then we'll show you where you can use these forecasts. So in the graphical interface, we can navigate to forecasting by clicking on Schedule Forecasting. We have forecasting objects, which are basically forecasts that have been built. The internal one is automatically built for you. You can't modify this, but you can recalculate it. So let's say you created some new jobs and you want them to show up in the internal forecast immediately, you could do that. But we can view. So I can view the jobs that are in this forecast that'll take us over the next basically 12 hours. So we'll see a list here shortly. And we'll notice that it's showing you the submit time, duration of jobs, etc. for basically the next 12 hours. The internal forecast is always built for 12 hours. I have a forecast I built, and if I view this forecast, it's actually built over the next 7 days. So I can use this forecast as a front end to any of our reports. And as I scroll through here, we should see future dates, November 22nd, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so I'm going to come back to schedules for forecasting because this is a way of creating an external job prerequisite and having those impact forecasting, because otherwise we don't know about them. So let's go to reports, because one of the places I can use schedule forecasts is, of course, on the schedule forecast report. That's pretty straightforward. We can use it on the schedule of jobs to run. So let's say I want to build a report and I want to know what's forecasted to run on Friday. So I would come down here and I would choose the 22nd. I could maybe change my date range back, or time range back to 001, and have it run a report based on that forecast for Friday. And then maybe I want to come back in here and I also want to run the forecast for Saturday, because what I'm looking for is when's a good time for me to do some downtime and have some maintenance on the system. And again, I might come back here and change this to the beginning of the day time wise, and I want to pick Saturday the 23rd. So I submit those reports off. They generate a spool file under my user ID, and if I go all the way down to the bottom, I should have these reports here. Okay, and so this is the one for Friday. So this is showing me all the Friday schedules that are going to run. Now the nice thing too, as I said earlier, I have a user prerequisite, and that user prerequisite happens at 1700, and we'll see it right here, accounting end user daily process, and that's going to trigger these jobs right here. So without adding that specialty job in there, I wouldn't know about these. Okay, so that's Friday. I also did a forecast for Saturday, and I should have less jobs on this report. If I go to job history, I know I can do things like the Good Morning report, and I can use a forecast there and use the forecast to see how jobs are being forecasted, run deviations. So I could come here, choose that same forecast, and run the Good Morning report and show exceptions from run history. But that's it. Or I can just simply print out the forecast and print a list of the whole forecast right here. This happens to be a 7-day forecast. Okay, and how do I know that? Because I have a job in Robot Schedule, and that job is called Build Forecast. And if I come down here and then I go to the command entry, I'll see I have a little documentation here saying this is for 7 days. And if I prompt this, we can see the commands on this. So we can actually run the build forecast feature rate as a Robot Schedule job. So I'm building out for 7 days. Okay. The other thing I'm doing is I'm deleting all my old forecasts that are 7 days older. So I just have it automatically cleaning up. And I can run this at any point in time if I want. I can come here and do a do on it and force it to run. While that's happening, is I noticed I had a job that wasn't showing up in the schedule. And it happened to be this end of day job. And it's actually a group. And so if I go to this group, the reason it wasn't showing up in the forecast is that my person in accounting, when they sign off at the end of the day, it actually does a command in the background to send a user prerequisite. And so we'll show you the setup of this job. And you'll see on reactivity, there's a job name of accounting end user. Okay, and that is a user prerequisite. And the way that gets triggered, if I go to my green screen here and press F9, bring back my command, this job gets triggered by this send robot data. Well, Robot Schedule doesn't know about that because it's an API. It's something that's happening outside of its normal database. So the way I got that to work, so the last thing I want to show you is the effect of the schedules for forecasting. So I have my accounting end of user prerequisite. That prerequisite happens when the accounting person signs off. It has a schedule of weekly, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. So if I go in and look at the forecast, and I want to, maybe I just want to view the forecast and see where this job is. So if I go to Friday now in this built-in forecast, I should see the 21st at around 1700. Let's see, this is sorted. I want to sort by date, submit time. All right, so I want to go to the 21st at about 1700 in here. This is an end user submit job that's being accounted for. So what happens then too is if I go to my schedule reports and I take jobs to run by date and I use the forecast of the today and I say I want to look at tomorrow and run this and look at the latest and greatest report, we should see right at the top this user prerequisite count accounting end user, and that particular prerequisite runs this group of jobs. So if I go look at my job here by group, end of job date, and I look at properties on it, we will see that prerequisite on that particular job. So that's all we got time today for forecasting. As you can see, it's a handy feature for helping predict when your jobs are going to run. Have a great day.